Open this meeting of the Coralville City Council, July 23rd, 2019, with roll call.
Councilmember Foster.
Present.
Gross.
Here.
Gill.
Present.
Dodds.
Present.
Goodrich.
All council members except for Goodrich are present, as is the mayor and city clerk and assistant city administrator and city legal staff and several staff in the audience. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Gill, seconded by Gross. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, the agenda is approved. I have one proclamation tonight to read, and it has to do with recognizing our status as a small city, and it's a effort that the National League of Cities is encouraging cities our size to do to recognize all that we contribute to this country. So, City of Coralville Proclamation. Whereas small cities and towns under 50,000 population are the home of millions of Americans and constitute the vast majority of municipalities across the United States. And whereas small cities and towns strive to strengthen their communities through the provision of services and programs to improve the quality of life for all citizens. And whereas the federal government is an essential partner in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to support programs and legislation that strengthen small communities. And whereas state governments are partners in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to support key programs and legislation that strengthen communities. And whereas organizations, businesses, and citizens are partners in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to grow their efforts to make small communities a viable choice for people to live in. And whereas during these challenging economic times, the need for a renewed intergovernmental partnership to support essential public services is more important than ever to ensure the safety and growth of small town America. And whereas the National League of Cities President and the Small Cities Council of the National League of Cities has declared July 2019 as Small Cities Month, now therefore I, John A. Lundell, Mayor of the City of Coralville, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the month of July 2019 to be Small Cities Month and encourage all citizens to recognize this event and to work together this month and throughout the year to invest in small cities and towns to better the lives of all citizens. Signed this 23rd day of 2019. Here to accept the award, or the proclamation, is Mayor John Lundell. Thank you. do the handshake. I will make sure our colleagues at the National League of Cities realize we did that as the same way with the Iowa League of Cities. Thank you very much. Okay, item 5 is citizen comments. This is a time for anyone in the audience that'd like to speak to us about an item that's not already on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 6, Coral Galleria Part 4. Building official Jim Kessler is going to start with a building report and P&Z report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Amendment to Coralville Galleria CPUD 1 PUDA site plan. This is an amendment to Part 3 of Coral Galleria. Part 3 of Coral Galleria was composed of these two lots here. This building is actually being constructed now. And the remainder of it was the rest of this area, which was lot number 1 of Coral Galleria Part 3. So we had 1, 2, and 3 of Coral Galleria Part 3. So now they're amending that PUDA site plan in order to basically get some more lots on there and create lot number 1 so they can develop lot number 1. So with the amendment to the PUDA site plan, we now have lots 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I didn't mention the part number 3, but after these two lots, the rest of this was all designated as one lot for future development in that respect. And way back when Coral Galleria was first started, basically Coral Galleria was one large lot for one large multi-tenant building and then a lot of parking around it. So it's been amended several times. So what we're looking at now is this amendment where we're amending Part 3 to Part 4, and we're creating 5 new lots, actually. So by doing that, then of course we have got to also amend this preliminary plat for this. So this is a preliminary plat, which we're going to be acting on tonight as well. And that's just a preliminary plat of lots 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we'll be looking at that as well. So this would be the amendment to for Coral Galleria Part 4. And then we're also going to be looking at the PUDB site plan and final plat for lot number 1. And lot number 1, and I'll show you later, images of that. This is going to be developed as a car wash, and we've looked at a car wash down here before, and we have not approved that car wash. A lot of that car wash was actually outside. If you remember, all the vacuum area was outside. This car wash is all contained inside. So the way it's going to work and the way the site and lot number 1 will be developed, you will come in off of James Street here, and there's actually a shared access point here with these lots number 2 and 3 of part 3. Come in, come around here, come up these 3 drive lanes on this car wash, and there'll be 3 pay stations for the car wash here. There'll be 1, 2, and this will be a window pay station. These will be pedestals, this will be a window. You'll proceed through there in single file, come into the car wash here, run through the car wash, come out of the car wash, and if you should choose, go back into this building, which is a detail building where you would do the vacuuming and the wiping down of your car, whatever else you want to do to your car in here. That is totally enclosed as well. And then you would come back out here and exit the car wash back onto James Street. So that's the layout of the car wash. As I said, it's totally enclosed. There's nothing outside. Nothing at all like we looked at last time. We'll go down through here. This is just kind of a quick landscaping show of what they're going to do for landscaping. As you'll remember, along James Street, there's going to be a berm along there. We're planning along the berm in order to shield the back of all these buildings and the working parts of all these buildings from James Street. So here they're going to continue that berm across the front. They're going to have this landscaping headlight screening along the railroad track on Highway 6, which is out here, and then they'll have other landscaping in the islands and around the building. So this is what the car wash is going to look like. Now, we've worked long and hard with these people to make this adhere to the covenants as that we first did for Coral Ridge Coral Ridge Galleria when it was first brought to us. And so they've got the building design down. They're basically buildings with parapets on them so that we have kind of a staggered roof line. We have the stone materials, we have brick materials, and then we have some hardy plank or some cement board siding on the building as well for this parapet here. When we first looked at this, it was really bright colors. It was a lot of metal on this building. This parapet here was way up in the air, very high, and they had a sign on it. So we really think that this pretty much adheres, not pretty much, but we think it really adheres to the building covenants, material covenants that we first approved for Coral Galleria, and those are still in force at this stage. So when we're looking at this car wash on this elevation, this is actually the what you would see from the north. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong on that. This is what you would see from the east. This is what you would see from the west. So this would be the car wash tunnel coming down through here on this building. And this would be the back side of the building, the flip side of the building. So this would actually be the west side of the detailing building. And as you look at it this way, you're looking at this. This would be the north elevation, or the elevation that would face Highway 6, because you can see the 3 pay stations here. The window station would be here. You would come out of those. You would enter the car wash here, go through the car wash. This is flipped, so you have to keep that in mind. Exit the car wash here, come around, enter the detail here, exit the detail here. So we're looking at the north elevation here. We're looking at the south elevation here. Once again, we have all brick, stone, cement board materials on this. We used to have bright orange and green colors on this, and now we've got a more muted red color, which is in tune with what we had originally. All of this was on the P&Z agenda. The last meeting we had approved 6-0 for the amended plat, the amended site plan, the preliminary plat, the final plat. This was not the elevation we had at the P&Z meeting. And so they made their recommendation 6-0 for approval on this, contingent on coming forth with a building plan that would follow the covenances and that would likely be approved by the council. So that's my report.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Item C is a public hearing on this project. So I'd like to open the public hearing. Are there any comments? Any written?
No written.
Okay, close the public hearing. And the first item of 4 additional is to approve the amended preliminary plat.
Resolution approving the amended preliminary plat for Coral Galleria, Part 4, Coralville, Iowa, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Passes all ayes with Goodrich absent. Item E is a resolution for the amended PUD site plan.
Resolution approving the amended PUD-A site plan for Coral Galleria, Part 4, Coralville, Iowa, introduced by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Oh, that was close. We'll give it to Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Approved all ayes with Goodrich absent. Item F is the final plat for the project.
Resolution approving the final plat for Coral Galleria, Part 4, Coralville, Iowa, introduced by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gross. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Passes all ayes, Goodrich absent. And the last one for this project is for the approving the PUD site plan, final.
Resolution approving the PUD-B site plan for Lot 1, Coral Galleria, Part 4, Coralville, Iowa, introduced by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion? I'll just say before we vote, just thanks to the staff for working so hard on this, and thanks to the developer for accommodating the covenants and so forth. So, and a lot of hours went into making this car wash look pretty nice. Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Passes all ayes with Goodrich absent. Item 7 is IRL Public Improvements 2019. This is the project that will construct the improvements to East 9th Street between First Avenue and Quarry Road. I think I'll just stop there because the city engineer Dan's Holderness is going to probably say it better than I can. So, would you like to describe the project, then we'll have the public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this project will improve 9th Street between Quarry Road roundabout and First Avenue, and will also in 2019 and then in 2020, spring and summer of 2020, it will improve East 2nd Avenue between East 7th Street and East 9th Street in anticipation of the Extreme Arena opening in August of 2020.
Okay, very good. First item is a public hearing on the plans, specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for this project. Open a public hearing. Any comments? No written. Okay. Close the public hearing and consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the plan, specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the Iowa River Landing Improvements Project 2019, introduced by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Passes all ayes with Goodrich absent. Item C is bid report.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Bids were received on this project on July 16th. We did receive 2 bids for the project. The low bid was submitted by Boomerang Corporation of Anamosa, Iowa, in the amount of $4,777,440.20. Copies of the cover letter and bid tab were in your packet for your review if you want to know more details. At this time, we are not recommending any further action on this item, and we would propose to come back at the August 13th meeting to recommend action.
Who is the second bidder?
Second bidder was Streb Construction of Coralville, and their bid was $4,991,000, so they were like about $214,000 higher than Boomerang.
Okay, so we'll take action at the next meeting probably.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item 8 is the 2018 International Building Codes. This is the first consideration of an ordinance that will bring our City of Coralville building codes in line with changes that have been made to the International Building Code.
Ordinance number 2019-1009, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville, 2011, as previously amended, and adopting by reference the International Building Code, the International Residential Code, the State Mechanical Code, the State Electrical Code, the State Plumbing Code, the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code, and the International Property Maintenance Code, introduced for adoption, first consideration by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion?
Is there any difference or any
Yeah,
changes?
I was going to ask Jim if he could, we can kind of look through the amendments, but is there anything that the general community would know as a big difference that they need to abide by?
No, the bulk of those amendments you're looking at are basically the same amendments we made to the last code. There's a couple amendments that may be missing on this code that were actually addressed in the new code, so we don't have to amend those out of there. But no, there's very little difference in what we had last year. It's just updating the codes from the 15s to the 18s, the 3-year cycled codes. So no, there's very few changes. Nothing big at all. We were very pleased when we saw the codes.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Anything else? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
First consideration passes all ayes with Goodrich absent. Item 9 is the same thing for the 2018 International Fire Code.
Ordinance number 2019-1010, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville, 2011, as previously amended, and adopting by reference the International Fire Code 2018 edition with certain amendments thereto, introduced for adoption, first consideration by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Same question to you, Ori. Ori Schweitzer, our fire chief.
Thank you, Mayor. As Jim said, most of our amendments this time around, we actually removed more than we did add. Again, the codes are catching up to some of the amendments that we had in the past. The other amendments that we have are pretty consistent with what we had before. We did spend 2 or 3 meetings with both Iowa City and North Liberty Fire, kind of consolidating, making sure we're all on the same page. So most of our amendments between the 3 cities are clarifications of our code interpretation. So where some folks say there's gray area, we kind of just spell it out so all the contractors know what we're talking about. So.
Sounds good. Thank you. Anything else? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its first consideration, all ayes with Goodrich absent. I would think we might want to think about at our next meeting consolidating the second and third readings of these two.
We'll put those on the agenda that way.
Okay, thanks. Item 10, 28E agreement. This is for a comprehensive transit operations analysis between the agencies of Iowa City, CANBUS, and Coralville Transit. Coralville's share of the cost is $22,566.60.
Resolution approving a 28E agreement with Iowa City Transit and U of I CANBUS regarding a comprehensive transit operations analysis, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by,
Second.
Seconded by Gross.
Sorry, Don.
Any questions? Vicky's in the audience.
Well, I think I would just say, I think this, oh, sorry, Megan.
Who seconded?
Cut you off, I heard you talking, but I think this is something a lot of us hear, questions about transit and this, that, so I think I just want to encourage the public that there will be public input gathering aspects of this and, issues about transfer policies and fares and routes, and so really, when people say they have questions or would like to see some things tweaked, this would be a good time for you to let your voice be heard.
Sure. Yep.
And I just had a question on the timing of the study, like how, what's the time frame? How long will it take, and when can we expect to see some of the findings from the study?
Vicky Robrock, our parking and transit director.
So as far as the specifics of when we'll see some of the results, I don't really have a timeline for that. They are anticipating the study will be completed in approximately a year. So hopefully by the end of next July. I know Iowa City, I think, is hoping that we'd have some information so that we could implement as soon as possible if there are some things we want to change.
Is there an agreed upon timeline for the study?
Like I said, I think they've laid out the timeline unless there'd be some kind of delays. We've asked some of the route study stuff not be done until students are back, so that'll obviously delay some of the stuff that we would ordinarily be able to start with. But they are thinking about approximately a year.
What are the major goals of Coralville's in this study?
So it's been a significant time since we've looked at our routes. I think there is a concern about how we coordinate better with the other systems. I think all of us, it's been some time since we've looked at our routes, so this will hopefully give everybody the opportunity to sit at the table, discuss how we can make it much easier to go between systems, to look at our routes specifically to Coralville and say, are we at the appropriate headways? How can we do things more efficient with the current hours and stuff we're running? I think, we'll look at revenue, what that does if we tweak things, what does that do to our state and federal funding?
Right.
So all that should be part of the study.
Good. Thank you.
Needs to be done. Thank you, Vicki. Roll call?
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Passes all ayes with Goodrich absent. Item 11, I would entertain a motion to concur with my recommendation to appoint Sean Pearl, 803 19th Avenue, to the remaining term on the Board of Adjustment, which would only be until the end of this year, to fill a vacancy on the board.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gross, seconded by Gill. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Item 12, I consider a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented or amended.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar, items A through P inclusive.
Second.
Moved by Gill, seconded by Dodds. Any discussion? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Consent calendar is approved, all ayes with Goodrich absent. City Engineer Dan is going to give us a road reconstruction report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. About our Coral Ridge project, since the last time we talked, I believe the Forever Green Road intersection signals, the new ones have been activated, the old ones torn down, so that makes it much more cleaner look out there. They are working on the intersection landing improvements now. Starting tomorrow, they will start working on the bioswales. There's 17 bioswales on the east side of Coral Ridge, and they'll start working on those. They're kind of the holes you've seen that have been primarily dug but not completed yet, and so they'll start finishing those starting tomorrow. That'll take about 2 weeks, and then they'll go to the west side where there are 10 bioswales on the west side, and they'll take about a week and a half to complete those. So we're pushing them ahead to get things done quickly and try to get this wrapped up as soon as possible. On the Latitude project, the streets East 7th Street between 1st Avenue and East 2nd Avenue, and then the roundabout and the portion of East 2nd Avenue south of 7th Street adjacent to that project. The majority of the street paving is completed. They're working on the roundabout to do the tie-ins there and put their bricks in there. They have not, however, done much work yet on the sidewalks, and so that will be the next part of their construction on that project down there. We talked last meeting about a couple asphalt overlay projects that are going to start here and be completed before school starts. We don't have a definitive date for those yet. Once we do, we'll be doing press releases to get that out so that everyone is aware of when those will be done and the duration of those projects.
Great. Thank you, Dan. Any questions for Dan? Very good. City Administrator report.
I would just like to call attention to the city website. We have information about homeowner assistance for housing rehabilitation. That's in the form of a 5-year forgivable loan, and those funds aren't always available. When they are available, they come through a variety of different sources. This time it's through the Federal Home Loan Bank, and it's being administered through the Housing Trust Fund of Johnson County. But I can assure you that those will be spoken for quickly, so if you know of anyone who's interested, they should call the Housing Trust Fund early as they can, and the number is 358-0212, and her name is Ellen. She'll be very helpful. And that's all I have.
That's all you have, okay. Mayor's report, just draw attention to a couple events coming up on August 6th. That's a Tuesday night, is the National Night Out program, where we encourage neighbors to get together and hang out and have maybe a little block party or something. Hopefully the weather will cooperate, and that's coordinated through the the Coralville Police Department, so that the police and fire and council and mayor know where to go. We usually all try and stop by those parties. So that's the evening of August 6th. So just contact the police department if you're interested, and you can get more information from them. Then on Saturday, August 10th, is the 5th Street Social. Starts at 4 p.m. on 5th Street, right in the area of 808. Several bands will be playing, local bands, several local food vendors, beverage garden. It's always a great event. So that is coming up on the 10th. And the only other thing I wanted to mention is just this afternoon I received an email from Gloria Sando. And that name sounds familiar. She's worked with us or contacted us previously about her home at 1706 Oak Lake Park Road. This is the group of homes that are currently not served by city sewer, and they have septic systems, and there's obviously been legitimate reasons why they haven't been able to be hooked up by now, but she would like us to take another look at it and see what's changed in the last, it's been 2 years since we looked at it. So I would like to ask the engineering department to give us a report on that, and we can schedule time to discuss it if we need to, I think at a work session, but just to see if anything's changed, circumstances. Okay, city attorney report.
I have nothing, Kevin.
Nothing for me.
Nothing? Okay. The committee and council members. Jill, you want to start?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Just as an update of our lunch snack program, at the beginning of the month, we had 7 additional families, so people are taking advantage of this. It's just a simple meal prep items for lunches for the kids during the week. So we want to thank the Coralville Community Food Pantry for partnering with us in this project. And then with the food pantry, they are going to, again, be focused on the main end of the Kona Ice party that they do. And they are going to also have the second stage of music by them, which is going to feature New Dawn, which is a local band of Regina High School kids. So that's kind of fun. The West High cheerleaders will be doing face painting. I think that's mainly my update for the 5th Street Social. One other thing is we had the joint meeting of entities a week ago or so, and I wasn't able to attend. I wasn't able to leave work, but I was interested in reading the minutes, and they were talking about the climate action plan. And I know that Mitch had asked for that plan, and I haven't had the opportunity to read it yet, but I think this would be a good opportunity for us to review our ordinances on what our climate plans are, maybe especially regarding solar and wind, which our ordinances don't really accommodate very much in Coralville now, and I would like to explore that a little more. That's
Okay.
it.
Tom.
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Mitch?
A couple things. I guess I'll pick up where Joe was. Yeah, I think the 2 things that I took from the joint meeting was just that. And part of the discussion was that, climate change is an issue that really everyone's got to be on the same page a little bit. If everyone's doing their own thing, doesn't work out. So this is a good opportunity to try to find some common ground and see where there is some overlap. And then the other thing that was very interesting for that meeting was the hate crime ordinance that was proposed, and that some of the jurisdictions and municipalities are working at. So that'd be something I'd like to take a look at as well, especially given the number of, in the last 2 years, crimes in Johnson County that have been specifically based on the criteria that fall under hate crimes. And lastly, I do have for Chief Schweitzer on the 4th of July, standing in for the mayor, I got to accept this check from the Big White Church, which is just one of our great community partners. And every year they do this, but they were really especially just stoked this year about the great work that our fire department does, especially that we got to honor the department this 4th of July. So I'll give you your check here, Mr. Chief. No worries, no worries. The mayor's busy. You were setting off the fireworks. So.
Thank you to Big White Church.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was the donation?
$500.
500. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
That's very nice, thank you.
Yeah, I took a few dollars off from my finder's fee, but
Anything else, Mitch?
no, that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Megan?
I was actually going to mention the hate crime ordinance as something that I would be really interested in looking at here in Coralville. Obviously, you know, I want to send the message that that type of behavior is not acceptable in our community, and I want to also send the message that if you come here, you don't have to worry about those types of incidents. So I would be very interested in looking at that. And then I also wanted to mention the Battle of the Badges blood drive that is happening tomorrow and Thursday. So tomorrow it is from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Coralville Public Library, and July 25th it is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And this is a community event, a blood drive to help, you know, increase donations. It's kind of a fun competition between the police and the fire departments. Last year I donated on behalf of the fire department. This year I am going to donate on behalf of the police department because I want to be fair and go back and forth. But I wanted to say it's really important because last year when I donated, I actually got a call from the blood bank because I have an unusual blood type, and they found a patient that needed my blood, the specific properties, and so they called me and asked me to come in and donate, you know, for this specific patient. So it really, really is important. It's a great event, and I highly encourage everybody to attend if you are able to. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Gil, seconded by? Second. By Dodds. Okay. All in favor, say aye. We're adjourned. Okay.